So what's your favorite sport to watch that's not cross country or track?
I would say it's got to be football, NFL.
Really?
Yeah.
NFL, not college.
I honestly either. NFL is cool. Like, kind of depends. I was in Missouri. It was fun. Like, we had the Chiefs, so going on all their runs. It's like the last 3 years are so dominant. So it's fun watching like them with my friends and stuff. But I think college football is really fun too, especially when you have a good team.
But you hear sports and you identify mostly with the Chiefs.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't like. We're Bears fans because my parents are from Chicago, but just living in Missouri, it's like kind of like how are you not like cheering for the Chiefs because all your friends all the guys that grew up in Missouri are Chiefs fans. So it's been fun to kind of like watch with your friends and cheer for them and stuff. But like now that we're out of Missouri, I would say more back to like a Bears fan.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
So since you're out of there, you go back to interesting.
Yeah.
Good morning. I am Nick Smallridge. I'm the assistant girls soccer coach here at Bentonville High School, and this is Bentonville Tigers Sports Voices. I'm very excited today to be sitting here with Brian Burns. Brian, good morning and welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Brian is most recently an All-American cross-country athlete. He placed 16th in the Nike Cross Nationals in Portland, Oregon. And about a week before that, you were crowned Arkansas cross-country state champion. So, Brian, I'm excited to sit down and chat with you. Just to kind of start out, we see the accolades, we see where you are. Where did you start out? You just mentioned that you're Bears fans. So, yeah. But you said you're from Missouri. What's your story? How did you get here?
Yeah, so I was actually born in Wichita, Kansas, and my dad is a collegiate coach for track and cross country. So that's kind of where I got my start. That's why we moved around a lot. We lived in Wichita, Kansas, down to Bradley and Illinois, and then up to Columbia, Missouri for Mizzou, and now here for Arkansas. But I think that's kind of where I got my start. Is like I'm just coming from a big running family. My brother, he's a really good runner. He was really good in high school, and now he runs for the University of Oregon. So kind of looking up to him. And also kind of having parents that were big into the sport, and kind of got my start. Started in middle school cross country in 7th grade, and just kind of at first I hated it honestly, and then it was funny. You kind of hate it at first because it sucks, it hurts. But then I kind of learned to love the sport, and throughout the middle school and maybe freshman year, and then sophomore year is when it kind of started getting serious. You're like, I got a chance to go run collegiately, and that's when you got to start doing some things right and really focusing on what you're doing. And from there, I had a good sophomore year. Had my junior year cross country in Missouri, and then moved here in January last year.
January last year. Okay, so your dad is a collegiate coach, and it sounds to me like from what you said, you have an older brother who where was he at?
University of Oregon.
University of Oregon.
Yeah.
And you didn't start really getting serious until like freshman year.
Yeah.
Interesting. What was your experience like before that?
I think like in middle school, it's just kind of like you're having fun, and it's not that serious. You're not really training. You're showing up to practice, but you're not really doing much. And just a middle school sport, like most people would say, any sport. I played basketball in middle school, baseball. It was no different than any of those. I think it was just kind of having fun with the team and just kind of experiencing it for the first time. And then, once you get to high school, it's a little bit of a different, bigger stage. My brother was a senior when I was a freshman, so it was fun. We had a 4x8 team. We made it to state, so I got to compete with him at the state level. So that was pretty cool, and that's kind of when I learned, I really like the sport. Like, I want to see how far I can take it. So
that's interesting. So not only having your dad, but also having your older brother. Then it sounds like you also played like other sports up until that point. When did you? So it was like freshman year that you kind of started specializing a little bit.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the school I was from, there was no like dual sports. So I think here is a little different, and I think that's great that you can do dual sports. But I kind of had to make the choice between track and baseball when I was a freshman. And I chose track, which I think was a good choice. I was good at baseball, but I think for their career, I think that was a good choice. And then I did play basketball in my freshman year as well for the high school team. And then sophomore year, because when you get indoor track, it's not an official like school sport, but you get traveling a lot. It's kind of hard to manage both. So made the decision to drop basketball then.
Absolutely. So up until that point, so it's like when you were doing the multiple sports, it was kind of like basketball season, I'm playing basketball, baseball, I'm playing baseball. did you feel like if you didn't do cross country, do you think you would have probably done one of the others?
Yeah, I mean, if I wasn't running right now, I think I'd probably still be playing basketball and baseball.
Okay.
I love both those sports, and I still like to watch both of them, along with football. And yeah, I mean, I think if I wasn't doing track, I would love to do that. And maybe someday I still play like some rec basketball here and there, and like, it's when you're an athlete, it's hard to take it out of you. Like, you always want to keep competing and being around the sports. It's just on a high school level, that's not the case for me. So
when you were doing like basketball and baseball, junior high before, was it like competitive, like, or was it kind of more rec level?
Yeah, basketball was like kind of with my school. Like, played in the school middle school team, and then freshman year on the JV team. But baseball, I played for a travel team, and we were going out of state, different states around Missouri, St. Louis, Kansas City, like traveling for those tournaments like every weekend. So that was a really good experience. I think it was really fun, travel ball with baseball. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So it sounds like you were involved in a lot of like high level competitive sports, not just cross country, but then something happened freshman year. You basically had to choose, and cross country is the one that you felt like was probably your biggest love, or was it something else?
I mean, a little bit of both. Yeah, like I started to kind of develop the love for the sport, I think, but also understanding like that's what I was better at. Like, if you got at some point you got to choose. Like, you got to realize like, hey, if this is what you're really good at, like this is what you're going to be the best at. I think it's important that you make that decision at some point. And, if that's what you want to do, if you want to try to go run collegiately or whatever, like, I think it was important that you do have to make that decision at some point.
Yeah. Okay, love hearing about that. I'm going to move us more to like the present. So you specialized in cross country freshman, sophomore year, and then your father being a cross country and collegiate coach, track as well.
Yeah.
You guys came here and you moved here in January. You were able to jump in middle of the year, and tell me about your first impressions. Bentonville High School, obviously very successful program, and specifically the cross country and track, very successful. What were your first impressions?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always a little scary, moving to a new spot, new program, especially in the middle of the school year. It's kind of like, what do I expect, both from the school aspect, but also like training. Like, I was coming off a really good sophomore, started junior year, and it's like, my dad was coaching me, and the idea of moving to Bentonville, because my dad's coaching in Fayetteville. So, but we moved here specifically for running and for the program. So the idea was, that if we were going to turn over the training and everything like that, like we wanted someone, that was really know what they were doing, and that was Coach Power that we had found. So really, yeah, the first impressions was kind of meeting Coach Power and meeting the guys, and understanding that it was like we were coming into a really high level program, and which was awesome. And like, yeah, the guys were really good. And, we ended up having one of the best. Actually, I think we got voted the best track team in the country that last year. So. Coming to something like that where you can just kind of jump right in, and like really cool group of people, and great like people to train with. I think that was a really, really important and really really beneficial for us. And so just to have that and to jump right in, it was a great first impression, and yeah, it was good.
So having a very high level experience, high expectations, and being able to come into a group that had similar kinds of personalities, and that experience was beneficial. Obviously, I coach soccer. We were talking before we got on camera. I get into soccer season, and my vision gets locked in with what we're doing.
Yeah.
I have very little recollection of Brian last year. And so my impressions being in soccer and seeing the track athletes a little across the way, you're always kind of wondering, what's it like in that environment? So one question I do have is, what is something that you think others don't know about that, and it could be track or cross country. What's something about the Bentonville program that you think others would be surprised by?
Yeah, I think probably just like how hard we work. Like, I think whenever you look at like a track program or a cross country program, it's usually be like, oh, we've won 9 cross country titles in a row, and like, and you think football or basketball, it's like, we win here and there, but it seems like it's harder to win. I wouldn't say that's the case. I think it's the same, level in every sport. You're competing against the same schools. They all have the same opportunities as you, I think it's just we have a really great program and really hard workers, and I think Coach Power does an amazing job of building that. So I think yeah, we work just as hard as any other sport, and I think it's just as hard to win in our sport as any other sport. So I think sometimes it gets kind of brushed under, whenever you see like 9 in a row, like, oh, it's like an expectation for us to win, which is a great position to be in. But it is still a really big deal to go out and win state titles every year. So
yeah, absolutely. So moving forward, you've committed to University of North Carolina.
Yeah.
We were talking. You've seen a couple of the guys from here, and I'm sure having your older brother is somebody who's gone through that process. What are you looking for next year? What are you hoping to see next year? And what do you envision, say, 5 years from now? What does that look like for Brian Burns?
So this year, I have one last race this weekend, a national meet in San Diego, and really just looking to finish out this year really strong, and kind of pressure's off, right? You've already got the college decision made, so now it's kind of go out and just try to do the bet, like see how far you can take it. It's going to be a really fun year. I'm really looking forward to this season in track. So take care of that. And then looking forward to next year, probably August, move into North Carolina. And really just like to see, get my feet in the ground there and just start training with those guys. And maybe I might redshirt as a freshman. I might not in cross country right off the bat. But really just want to see what it's like, get my feet in the ground, kind of get used to the difference, different place, live in different place, different coach, new teammates, new faces, all that stuff. So I think, you may see me competing in the fall next year, you may not, but definitely track. I want to make a big impact, and then moving forward from that, 5 years, hopefully in 5 years I'll be either maybe a 5th year senior competing if I redshirt, or I want to make that transition. Hopefully I can run professionally after. So that's the biggest goal, is kind of, and that factored a lot into my college decision, is kind of where I can go to where I can have a really linear improvement and try to stay healthy and have a shot to go to that next level after college. So that's exciting.
Yeah. I'm going to circle back. There's something you just said about working hard. There's the expectation that we have. Clearly, you have gone through this process in thinking about what you want and where you hope to be. There was something you said, everybody works hard, but there's something that makes you a little different.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I have you in class. I get to see this tremendously, successful, hardworking, kind, thoughtful person. Is it all those things, or is there something different? What makes you different?
I think it can be, I think sports can be a little bit genetic. I had two parents that ran collegiately. So I think, you're always going to have your natural abilities, and it's the same for anybody. You see someone in basketball who's 6'6", right? They're obviously going to have a little bit of an advantage over a player that's 5'8" or something like that, So maybe I might be a little bit more genetically blessed in that sense. But also, I think it's just really hard work. I'm sure there's so many athletes out there that are really genetically blessed and that can have the ability to be really good athletes they'll never discover it. I think you just got to it's something that you learn as you go, and as you want to get to a higher level, you got to realize you got to be better. You got to work harder. And I think there's levels to it. You can think you work hard, but I promise you, there's so many more things you can be doing. Even outside of practice, right? You got to be, it's sleep, it's nutrition, supplements, how you take care of your body. And there's so many different things that you can do that'll give you an edge and that can make you better. So I think there's really just levels to how hard you work. And like you said, it extends outside of practice. You can go to practice, you can be the hardest worker there, but you can get outworked in so many different ways off the court or off the track or whatever. So I think it's kind of a lifestyle, and you got to be dialed in every part. So.
It's interesting. That's interesting. In a few of the conversations I've had, I'm getting this impression that there's a common thread of hard work, mentality, but there's almost an interesting matter of factness to it. The way you describe it, it's just this is the way it is.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a burden. It's not like it's a privilege. It's just It is what it is. That's interesting. At the very beginning, we started talking. We were looking at your favorite sports to watch outside of this. Talking about football, Chiefs. Yeah, I'm glad you're not an actual Chiefs fan, Broncos fan here.
Yeah, okay.
But you said you were a Bears fan. If you were to identify with the Bear player that you're like, oh, that player embodies like who the qualities that I align with. What famous, current, previous, whoever Bears player sticks out to you?
That's tough. Bears, they got so much movement on their team with guys coming in and out. But I think I would go back to an older player, Walter Payton, a really good running back, historic running back for the Bears. I think if you watch, he's a really hard worker, and he was really driven if you watched him play, and he's really determined, and he just run through guys. So I don't know. I think he was a really good kind of role model and role model player for the Bears. So
that's awesome.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, I'm so grateful to be able to sit down and chat with you, learn about your story, and congratulations again, Arkansas Cross Country 2025 state champion and All-American Nike Cross Nationals in Portland, Oregon. And what was the meet you have coming in San Diego?
Brooks Nationals.
Brooks Nationals.
Cross country, yeah.
Well, fantastic. Best of luck on that, and best of luck for track in the spring. And a little side note, he broke 2 records last spring, 800 in mile?
In mile, yeah. I don't have the mile, though. Matthew has it. We both broke in the same race, but I do have the 800-meter record.
Okay.
Record, so.
Which record do you have?
800-meter state record.
I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for those this spring.
Yeah.
Brian, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks
Thanks.